Well, hello there, and welcome back to another Mordheim video. So, after I showed you the warp guard in the last character guide, I will now go on to the second henchman of the Skaven warband, which is the Verminkin. Well, the Verminkin is kind of a bit of a special one. His combat stats are not that great. He's not that good in combat at all. He's only strength 9, which is really low. He won't do a lot of damage in direct melee, but he makes up for that with a really high agility, really high alertness, and possibly, if you're not stupid like me and skill like that, a really high accuracy. His weapon skill is also not terrible. Also his ballistic skill, yes, he can be quite variable. Well, when I say he's not that good in combat, I mean that he is only an henchman, so he won't attack more than 2 times. Which means he is not that strong like a Stormweapon, so he won't do that much direct damage. But he has another job. The way I like to play these guys are a bit of a crit build. They have a really high initiative and a really high agility. Being Skaven, they can get into position really early in the fight and get into position to ambush enemies, which is what I like to do with these guys. So, their build kinda accomplishes that. I give them usually play them with daggers, which are buffing my ambush damage by 25% each, which is quite nice. He's wearing light armor actually, simply because he can take a bit more of a beating that way, and even with light armor, his dodge stance is 90%. So there is really no downside to wearing light armor. You can get him clothing, but I prefer light armor on these guys because, like I said, 90% dodge chance anyway, and it doesn't really slow me down either, so I like to get that. For amulets, this guy has actually a could swap around for like something with climbing or something, but I don't really want to do that. I'm just letting him have that. I don't really have anything good enchant wise for the amulets or pendant on this warband, sadly, but doesn't really matter that much. For the weapon enchants, I have a Mark of Enfeeblement on these guys, because simply, again, I don't have the Mark of Carnage, which would be optimal, but still, Mark of Enfeeblement, like I said in the warp guard video, is just nice. If you can remove some of the enemy offensive points, you can take away some of the damage, it's just nice. And also let him have shurikens, simply because why not? He doesn't really need any other melee weapons. You could give him like a halberd or maybe some two one-handed swords or something, but I just prefer to have a bit of versatility, maybe do some range damage if I really have to. He won't hit much, but it's better than nothing. Now we get to the interesting part, which are his skills. First off, sidestep and prowl are must-have if you're playing as a dodge character, simply because 2 dodge chances, sidestep are really good, and prowl is kinda core for the build I'm running, simply because it allows me to dodge after I ambush, and his primary job is to ambush. Also he has warp poison, simply because he can reduce more offensive points, which is good. It's just going to be really annoying. The special ability the Verminkin gets is Warp Rage, which basically gives him a bit more damage and dodge after picking up Wordstone, which is not bad terrible. If you can get that buff before the fight, it's actually quite nice. Swarm, again, I pretty much take this on every single game in my warband. It's just that good. 5% more hit chance and 5% more crit chance is just amazing. I also give him Art of Silent Death, solely because he's using daggers for the ambush damage. So this gives him more crit damage, more crit chance, I mean. So it's kind of mandatory for the build I'm running. Surprise is another important part on these guys. Increases critical hit chance of ambush attacks by 10%. Like I said, his job is to be in front of the warband, get into position in a building, block off a door with an ambush, and if someone walks in, charge him with the ambush. And with some luck, crit him, stun him. And then lock him down, block the door, and just proceed to stab him. Avoid just a bit more dodge chance to neutralize the light armor. You don't have to run it, you can go for a bit more damage, some more damage skills, or even something like Swift Charge if you can't get an ambush off, or maybe even more poison, or a range attack if you really want to, but I like Avoid, just a bit more dodge. So I already told a bit of like how I like to play them. Like I said, they are not the greatest characters in direct combat, but they are Skaven and they are really fast. They have a high agility and they can easily get ahead of your warband because of your high initiative and get into positions to ambush enemies. And if you get to ambush them with daggers and all of your skills, you will have more than 30% crit chance, which is not bad at all. Even your heroes won't get higher than that, at least not much higher. And if you crit them with 2 daggers, and maybe the Mark of Carnage if you got that, you will do a lot of damage. Also, if you're a bit lucky, your crit will stun the enemy, which will allow your other Skaven to catch up, surround him, and if an enemy is stunned, you can't miss him, and he can't parry or dodge. So, that's basically their main job at the beginning of the fight. If your enemies are already all engaged, you're a bit out of luck with these guys. They are not that good in combat, but still, they have a decent crit chance. So what I'm usually doing with them is either I lock up some enemy hero, just engage him in combat and try to keep him busy, because 90% dodge chance and sidestep, he is likely to survive at least for a while. And you can tie him up, maybe crit him, just keep him busy. Or I try to go around and snipe enemies that need to die. I just run up to them, try to attack them once, and if I crit them, fine, I crit them. If I don't crit them, I just disengage again, make room for other Skaven to attack. Basically, I'm just fishing for crits with these guys. I usually bring 1 or 2 of them on my missions with a full warband. Simply because they are good at doing what they're supposed to do. But like I said, not great in combat, and the warp guards just will do a better job in the if you have more of them. And having a better frontline can sometimes be a bigger advantage than having a Verminkin that can basically only crit the damage. But still, I like the Verminkin. They're fun to play with. And if you get that nice big ambush crit on an enemy hero that enters a building, even their leader, and just lock him up right in the door and allow 3 of your dudes to hit him without him having any chance to fight back, it's a good feeling. And it's fun. Also, a bit on the side, but daggers are not that terrible if you get them in high quality. 15% bypass on dodge and parry is not bad. The damage is not high, but still, like I said, ambush damage, crit damage, they can still do a lot. You could also give him a sword and a dagger, just to get the effect of the dagger, but like I said, I like 2 daggers. It just fits the theme very well. And there you have it. That's how you could build a Verminkin. Like I said, go for more accuracy, not like I did. I stopped at 9 accuracy simply because I wanted to get the skills, but should have gone higher than that, but meh. More weapon skill is not terrible as well, just you can hit some more attacks and get through enemies' parry and dodge chance. Not terrible. So, if you liked the video, please subscribe to my channel. I will do guides like these for pretty much every warrior I can get my hands on. I have to level a few more warbands simply because I lost my saves after my new PC, so I have to re-level some warbands. But I will get to do most of the characters in due time. But yeah, until then, have a nice day.